All right, so we're at a diagnostic here. Homeowner had stated that the condenser fan motor here, originally it wasn't turning at all when the AC was on, and then it started to turn super slow. So turn the thermostat on, and then we're coming out here to take a listen and see what's going on. So it's an Evergreen, so it takes a second to start up. And then all of a sudden, that's what we hear when it fires up. So, and it's running super slow. So there's not much you could do. It's just a bad fan motor. There's no capacitor connected to this motor since it is an Evergreen. It's an ECM. So no capacitor. So there's not much to really diagnose here. It's that the bearings or something on the inside of that motor have failed, and we got to replace it pretty much. So this was only replaced about a year ago, which is kind of odd, but we'll get a new one in and it'll be good to go. So normally that condenser fan motor would be a PSC, so it'd be hooked up to the capacitor and everything, but I'll show you how to wire up an Evergreen and the whole nine. Cool thing about the Evergreens is they're efficient and they're just universal. So I can use one motor for a bunch of different systems, and that saves me from having to go, get it ordered and come back to this call numerous times. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is disconnect all the wires. But before I start grabbing my hands on all the electrical, I want to make sure that we for sure have no voltage there. So to do that, I'm going to each side of the bottom of the contactor, and I got 0 volts. And then now I want to go from one side to ground, 0, and the other side to ground, making sure that we got no voltage whatsoever. So that's good. And then from here, I'm just going to go ahead and take off all of my wires that go to that motor. And there's only 3, so pretty simple. Did I lie? I think I lied. I think there's 4. I lied, there's 4. Alright, that's good. So it's diag time right now here where we're at. Hi, Pop. Hi. That's a good boy. Diag time where we're at. Super hot. So we're just running diag after diag. And I just had a ride along the other day. And one of the best pieces of advice I had when starting out the diagnostic. If you've never done a diagnostic, it's a little different than a maintenance. So when you're first starting out, main thing to figure out is our issue outdoor or indoor? And sometimes you don't always know right out the gate, but the first question that I ask the homeowner is it blowing air and it's just not cold, or is it not blowing any air at all? And that question right there can save you a lot of time and kind of point you in the right direction of where to start. So just a small piece of advice. But all right, so we got the fan off. And now we're going to take the blade off here, and you can hear when I spin it. You can hear a tiny little screech. You can use your service wrench for that little set screw there. Comes right on. And you can see it's just really rusted for being like a year old. So I don't really know what happened here. I'll grab my socket set for those. Garbage. Man, it's toasty today. So these evergreens and these universal motors can sometimes be a little daunting. Just because the wires do not exactly match up, and they're just new. You've never done them before, so they're not that bad. They're pretty dang easy. Part is getting it out of the box. All right. So we'll go ahead and mount it up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Big note on these right here, do not over tighten them. They're super easy to snap, whether that be evergreens or just a regular condenser fan motor. Once you snap it, you're kind of dead in the water. So don't do that, that sucks. All right, let's grab the instructions. Well, that sucks. I don't have any. Alright, it's always good to be resourceful. All I gotta do is look up Evergreen outdoor fan motor, and then I can find the manual on the internet. So we'll use that in a second. Put the good old fan blade back on. I've installed a couple without the fan blade, and then I realized that once I mounted it all up, so don't do that because that wastes time. Alright, so trick that I've used here when putting all these wires through, start with one and then another, push them through a little bit, and then another, and then another, and another. If you just push them all through all at once, they get kind of stuck, and then it makes life super hard. So there you go, pull them all through. That's good. Boom. Now I got the fan blade. So it's always good to note where the fan blade sat on the old motor. So I can see my rust line right there on the fan motor. So it was just kind of on the very end. So I'll do the same with this one. If it doesn't burn me. All right. Cool. That's good. So let's take a look at this. So first thing we're going to figure out and worry about is this a clockwise or counterclockwise fan? So from the factory, this comes counterclockwise, but you can reverse it with the flip of some wires. So to figure it out, you can always look on the old motor, right? It should show you a direction. But if you don't have that, just look at the blades, right? So I can see they're curved down. So if they're curved down and I want to expel air towards me, the blades have to turn this way, right? If they turn this way, it scoops up the airflow and sends it out. If they spin backwards, then I'm just pushing air down. So I want it to go this way, and that's actually clockwise. So it comes from the factory counterclockwise, but we want it to go clockwise. All right. So to do that, like I said, it's super simple. It's the flip of some wires. So this little plug right here, all we got to do is unplug it, twist it, plug it back in. All right. So now my yellow and brown line up, and my orange and purple line up. So let me take a look at the manual, just make sure that's right. If my iPad doesn't overheat, that's gonna suck. Okay. So, yep, clockwise, yellow and brown, and orange and purple. Cool. So that is done. All right. All right. So people have a few different ways of doing it. The old one was strapped up by a zip tie, but if we're taking a look at this little plug, this just kind of dangles, right? It dangles, and you know, God forbid, fan blade spins and chops it off. That's gonna be a bad day. That's gonna suck. So the old one was just zip tied to up here. What I like to do is I like to actually use a Panduit strap. So I'm going to take a Panduit strap all the way around and hold that plug. And then we just cut off our excess. All I just feel that that is a little bit safer, and it's not going to go, it's not going to get loose, it's not going to fall off. So all right, from here, just give it a spin, make sure that it's not going to hit anything, which it's not, and we'll go ahead and remount this thing now. I'll just pull the wires through. Get the system on this side. All right. Alright, so here's the super confusing part for most people, but it's nothing crazy. Alright, so here's the instructions. We have AC applications or heat pump applications. All we care about right now is the AC. So we'll read it. High voltage power connections. Step 1, connect the black L1 to line voltage L1 on the load side of the contactor. Step 2, connect the white L2 line voltage L2 on the load side of the contactor. Alright, so it's just showing you, hook it up on either side, white, black, either side. We have a single pole contactor though, so this kind of changes things up. So note, single pole contactors connect the white wire to the unswitched side. Alright, so the unswitched side is going to have the white wire. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so let's grab our black and white wires. White wire goes to the unswitched side. So that's the solid side of the contactor over here, okay? So that's not the side of the contacts. So that's hooked up. Black wire is just going to the other one. That's hooked up. All right, so what do we got left? We got a ground. Ground is easy. We know where the ground goes. But now we got a yellow and an orange. So let's go figure out where these wires go. All right, step 3 is connect the green/yellow stripe ground wire to system ground. That one's easy. We'll just find a ground. Next up, high voltage signal connections. Step 1, connect required speed wire, orange or yellow, to the high voltage power L1 piggyback terminal. So taking a look at the picture here, the black wire has a little piggyback that you're going to hook up either the orange or the yellow. All right, it says orange wire is an 8-pole speed, 850 RPM. Yellow wire is 6-pole speed, 1100 RPM. Okay, this would say the RPMs on the motor that you're replacing. This one was already an Evergreen, so it was hooked up to the yellow, so I'm just going off that. So I'll piggyback it, and then it says step 2, cap off unused speed wire with wire nut and or electrical tape. We ain't doing electrical tape, that's going to be a wire nut. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, so yellow was it, I think 850. So we are connecting that to the piggyback on the black wire. So that's good. And then let's just get our ground going here. We're just going to do right there. So let's Alright, that's easy enough. And then our orange, we're going to cut. Strip back a little bit. A little bit more. Strip back. Twist. Fold it on itself. And wire nut that bad boy. It's tight. Boom, good to go. And then we don't want to leave this a nasty old mess, so we're going to clean this up and just zip tie that. So let's grab that. Okay. These are good. So again, these motors are used to replace any PSC motor. They're not used to replace an existing ECM. All right, so with that, you don't have to hook anything up to the capacitor. It's all good. It's more efficient, it's quieter. All right, so I cleaned that up. All the wires are in a bunch. I'll chop it. Now let's fire it up and see what we get. So actually, I lied. Before I fire it up, let's see. Always good to do a little spin of the blade. Make sure that it's not going to hit anything in there. And now we can fire it up. Look at that. It takes a second to start up, but after that, it's working just fine now. It's expelling the hot air, and that's how you replace a condenser fan motor with an Evergreen ECM condenser fan motor.